of where you were whenever you started working with us. Where are you guys now?
We've never seen the company at this type of profitability. The last 3 months, we did 300,000 in March. Goal is now in November to hit our first $1 million month. Make sure that when you're hiring people to scale your brand, you're bringing in the right team members.
What's up, guys? We are on here with Parker Godfrey today, who is the founder of Kiora Eyewear. We've been working with you, Parker, for what, about 6 months now?
Just about, yeah. Yeah, I think
Awesome,
we
man.
started in January, but yeah.
Awesome, man. So Kiora has the hottest sunglasses on TikTok and TikTok Shop. You guys even hit the #1 spot for fashion accessories. I believe it was for the month of March, which is super cool, man. Do me a favor, tell everyone a little bit about your business and your brand.
Yeah, so we've been around for about 2 years. We started off organically going viral at the very beginning of the brand. That's kind of where we got our legs and were able to turn a profit in the first bit. From there, really invested heavily into teams and just hiring agencies that are going to be able to move the needle for us. It took me some time to go through a bunch of different agencies and really find somebody that worked for me. But here we are, a year and a half in, we found Luke and couldn't be happier with everything that's going on. So super
Yeah, man.
stoked.
Yeah, man. I think that's one of the things that I like envy and aspire to kind of take from you is like you are really big about investing in like the best people that you can find, knowing that assuming everything goes right, it's going to pay royalties back into your business,
Yeah.
which is super cool. I struggle to adopt that myself sometimes, so I got to know like anytime there's someone with like a high salary, I have to understand like this person is going to make the business exponentially better if we are
Yeah.
going to pull them in and invest in them, right?
100%.
Um,
You're only as good as your team, and if you have the right people around you, everything's going to run smoothly. So
Absolutely, man.
important.
So do me a favor, share with everybody where you were approximately. You don't got to know the exact numbers of where you were whenever you started working with us. Kind of what was the challenge that you guys were facing, and where are you guys now?
Yeah. So most of the traditional agencies that we've worked with rely heavily on Facebook, where Facebook does have better traffic and also tracking and all the data. They've just been around longer, and so they do a really good job at keeping, getting the right people through to your brand. The algorithm's a little bit smarter, not as scrappy as TikTok, and we've mainly focused on growth through Meta. And then every agency's like, oh yeah, after selling me on Meta, they're like, we could take care of your TikTok too, but there was no real strategy involved. And every time, a new agency would come on board, we'd be working together on TikTok, and I'm like, okay, cool. We just, went through 80% of our meeting talking about Meta, and then they're like, oh yeah, let's talk about TikTok. And then, there was nothing really coming about it. We were getting like a 1.5 ROAS, and I'm like, okay, cool. CPMs are low, and it's a good way to just top a funnel, drive people to the site with cheap clicks. So hopefully it goes into the funnel and we clean them up later. But it was never a real acquisition source for us. And then once we started working with you, it turned around. I mean, almost
Yeah.
instantly. The second we were able to crack TikTok Shop and strategize with our business of what's going to work. We've never seen the company at this type of profitability and this scale. So we pretty much unlocked a new acquisition source that's now taking over Meta and taking over every other aspect of the business as the main driver. So
Amazing,
pretty
man. Would you
insane.
say that that's awesome, man? Would you say that TikTok kind of was just like an afterthought for a lot of the agencies, right? It was just like a way that they could stack up a little higher retainer, add another, acquisition channel for you guys, but they never really put any actual effort towards it. They never really had a strategy. It was just more of like we had Meta, and then like we
Yeah,
throw some extra budget at TikTok and hope it does something.
exactly. And it was like the same strategy of Facebook. They're just like, okay, let's create a, smart campaign and throw ads into it and throw some spark ads and see how they do. If it doesn't perform well, then we just turn it off and start a new one. And so we're just redoing, recycling campaigns and,
Yeah.
trying to find the best content that we had. But the biggest, constraint was creating content. TikTok, you have to be really scrappy and quick with it. So, I was
Yeah.
posting or creating videos every single day in hopes of, having another viral ad that performed.
hmm
And for the most
What
part, we would
what
just find ourselves back at square one every week.
yeah, things die out. Yeah, you're back to zero. what do you think was the biggest challenge for those agencies, or whenever you were working with those agencies? Like what wasn't quite there to get you to that point where it was actually successful?
Well, the biggest thing is just being able to create creative on a consistent basis. And like 90% of agencies only do media buying. And then they kind of coach you and they say, oh, you know what? They don't really know your business either. And so they're like,
Hmm.
hey, I'll give you best practices of videos that you should make that I think will perform for your business. And so, like, you create it. And then there's that timeline of like creating the content or going out and hiring somebody. You get it back. 2 weeks later, you test it, you spend $1,000 and it doesn't work and you're losing money. Hiring new creators, it's expensive. And there's this just really inefficient flywheel that I kept running
Yeah.
into. And that's kind of what led me to be the face of the company, is because I couldn't afford to be making content consistently. But the biggest selling factor when we started working together was you're like, oh yeah, we'll take care of creative. We do that for you. And so I was just, okay, done. The second you can have an
Yeah.
internal team just creating stuff on a consistent basis every day, almost like if that's what it takes, you guys were able to do that and learn my content style, which is completely unique from other brands too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And definitely learning it is definitely an adjustment for any agency, obviously.
Yeah.
But would you say probably agencies to be successful going forward, it's going to be important. I know we talked about this a little bit, but it's going to be important that they integrate more on the content creation side. Obviously, media buying is a skill. Obviously, like understanding the ins and outs of ads manager is always going to have some level of value. But do you see for brands to be successful in 2024, 2025, and going forward, that if they don't integrate into the content creation process, at least from a strategic standpoint, that they're going to be a step behind everybody else?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to be constantly creating new stuff and you have to learn from that creative that you're making. And so if you have third parties and you're, outsourcing it here, and then you have this person telling you, oh, it's not working, and then you're the middleman to the creative agency, there's just too many moving parts and it's not efficient quick enough to get the learnings back in time. So it just creates a really inefficient way of running ads and, being able to learn within one day. You can get learnings back if you're spending, $1,000 a day on ads. Or I think with you guys, we started scaling up really quickly. And the more you scale, the more you're spending, the more data you get back, the answers come back quicker. And then you also have to move really quick on that creative. And so you're just getting better and better every single time, and every month. The longer we work together, the more you understand my business. You know what type of creative is going to be working. And so you just really hone in on that. And it gets to a point where you're like, okay, let's just make another iteration of this that's working. And
Yeah.
it snowballs. That's what I've seen.
I love it, man. And I think that's one thing that we try to do that not a lot of agencies have caught up with is like the creative feedback loop, right? The
Hmm.
cool thing about us being integrated in the creative process, whether it's being working with you on making creatives or whether it's us like doing UGC done for you, it's like that first batch of UGC that we do is just getting the ball rolling, right? Like obviously
Hmm.
we want it to perform, but the way that we're successful long term is we're always taking those creative analytics and learnings and reapplying them back at the beginning of the process whenever you're making new creative or making new UGC. So our creatives are actually just getting like better over time. And then as soon
Yeah.
as we see that something works, right, we're able to double down on it super quick because we're integrated right into the process.
Exactly. And like the algorithms are getting so smart now that AI and all these data, like the ASC campaigns and all these smart campaigns, are doing all the targeting for you based off of your creative. So you're not going to
Yeah.
target your way to success anymore. You have to have really enticing creative that is almost like a broadcasting station where your messaging is kind of programming your viewers to understand your product and understand the beliefs and the angles and why your product is better. And I think you have a really
Awesome.
deep understanding of that and understanding that digital marketing is an ecosystem, not just let's throw an ad out and see how it performs off direct response. It's like it's a long-term relationship with people. And when
Yeah.
we first spoke, you were talking about the psychology of advertising and all that. And I'm like, okay, he gets it, like
Hmm.
also being a younger dude like me, and we understand social media differently than these agencies that were performing insanely well in 2017. It's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
new game now. And it's a whole different strategy to take brands from, 20 and 50,000 a month to, you know, hitting goals of
yeah.
$1 million a month. Like, I can't tell you anybody who's doing 50 million a year in revenue who could start over in this day and age in digital marketing and get to that point. It's a different ecosystem.
Dude, I've seen that too, and like I've seen guys who've crushed it and sold a business for like tens of millions of dollars, and they like did that in like 2015, and they're trying to win right now, and it's hard for them
Hmm.
because they have the wrong skill set like from what they learned back then, right? So they're having to completely
Yeah, their
relearn the
perspective is
game.
different.
So
Yeah.
it's absolutely
Yeah.
nuts, man. Okay, so obviously with any agency relationship, like there's always going to be a little bit of work on both the client and the agency, right? Tell me
Hmm.
about the time commitment that you've had to put into our relationship. You know, what responsibilities do you have, and what are the things that we've handled in your relationship?
Yeah, I think the perfect relationship with an agency is going to allow you to not have to do the day-to-day busy work. Like, you
Hmm.
should be, as the founder and as the CEO and as the product developer, you're wearing so many hats already that you shouldn't be looking into campaigns and going into the ad sets and saying, "Oh, this one's not performing well. Luke, turn this off," or "Hey, let's do this." And I don't tell you any strategy. I have a deep
Yeah.
understanding of it, but I trust you to a point where
Hmm.
I don't want to micromanage, and I shouldn't be. And it's nice and freeing to be able to have somebody that you trust enough to be able to go, off the grid for 5 days and travel when, I have something come up and I go and I know it's taken care of. Like, you're not going to
Yeah.
not look at my account. You're not going to let things slip through the cracks. It's always being taken care of. And not only your eyes on it, but you probably have three other team members in my account every day looking at things and making sure that all the optimizations are going to be happening.
Absolutely, man. So based on where we're at now, where do you see us going in the next 6 to 12 months? What's the goals? What do you think we can hit?
Well, I mean, starting the year, we were starting at doing like about a little over 100,000 a month, and now, the last 3 months we did 300,000 in March, we did 280,000 in April, and May where we did 280 again, and so now this month we're on track to over 300, and the only thing holding us back right now is inventory. We can't keep things in
Yep.
stock. We're like having a tough time because you're on my case like, let's get stuff in stock. We need to start scaling. We're licking our chops over here ready to go. And it,
Hmm.
sucks, but it's a great position to be in when you're working with an agency. Like, are you kidding me?
Good,
At especially a
good
5x
problems.
ROAS too. Like,
Yep.
I've never seen that with
Yep.
the brand. And so you're like, we have room to double, triple spend in within weeks and take the
Yep.
brand from doing 300,000 to, which our goal is now in November to hit our first $1 million month. And thinking
Yep.
2 years back, I was selling these things out of my garage, packing my own orders, and then finding, an agency like you that has like, it's realistic. Like, for me, it was always a pipe dream. Like, could you imagine? And now it's like it's a reality that $1 million month is right around the corner. It's like
Yeah, man. Would,
nuts.
would you say those results were surprising, or is this what you expected? Because I know at the beginning of the year, like your goal was to put the dream team together. So were the results that you got surprising, or were they on
Sorry.
par with what? Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you paused for a second. What was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. What I was asking was, were the results that you got were they surprising to you? I know at the beginning of the year you were trying to assemble the dream team essentially, right? So
Yeah.
were the results on par with what you were shooting for? Or are you pleasantly surprised? Were you let down? Where were you at?
Well, I mean, we set our projections for the year and we wanted to grow at 100%. And so we wanted to
Yeah,
have, a $3 million year this year. And, 6 months in, we're already like halfway there. And
yeah,
with Q4 coming and coming into sunglass season in summer, like, we're just entering sunglass season and
yeah,
Q4 is around the corner. So the projections changed real quick when,
yeah,
we had those all set up. And that's another reason why we're a little short on inventory is we didn't expect this type of growth. And so instead of
yeah,
a, 100% growth, we're looking at 250% growth this year, which for me, I'm like, you can't complain about that, but you want to grow at a healthy rate and
yeah.
just it's pretty crazy.
Good problems once again, right?
Good problems, all
Uh,
good problems.
awesome, man. All right. Wrapping up here, if someone was on the fence about working with myself or my team, what would be your advice to them, or what would you tell them?
I mean, I would just say no one gets it like Luke does. I've talked to every agency out there. I've talked to some of the best people in the game, people who work with $50 million brands, people who work with 20,000 a month brands, and
Hmm.
a lot of these people say the same thing, and it's always just rinse and repeat. Similar strategies. They don't offer the resources that you've offered for me and given me to buy my or gotten me to buy my time back and focus on other aspects of the business. At the end of the day, I have a deep understanding of digital marketing where the brand has gotten to, and I hit a wall and a ceiling of what I could do. And so bringing you in is just that next level of expertise that took us to the next level and, realistically going to hit $1 million months, which is just unreal.
Yeah.
So if you're on the fence about working with you, like I would just say, are you ready to, buy your time back and see net margin go up? Like you want to work less and make
Yeah.
more money? I mean,
Love it.
I'd hope
It's easy.
you'd be stupid to say no.
Hopefully an easy one, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for doing this for us. Do
yeah.
you have any final thoughts that you want to leave the viewers with? And where can we find you? Where can we find your businesses? And what are you up to?
Yeah, I mean, the final thoughts would be make sure that when you're hiring people to scale your brand, you're bringing in the right team members. And when you have the right team members, not only are they going to be paying for themselves, so there's no risk involved because they are creating results for brands like mine. They're going to come in, they're going to charge you a retainer, you're going to have to pay money, but the returns you're going to get from working with somebody who actually knows what they're doing and are creating results, they're going to pay for themselves and more. And that and
Yeah.
more is going to go straight into your pocket. And so if you assemble that dream team and every department within the business has an expert doing their thing, it's only going to scale and you are going to succeed when they're working with brands that are already bigger than you. So, if you have the right
Awesome, man.
product, you have the right angles, it's going to work. But you can find me on TikTok at Kiora Eyewear, Kiora underscore eyewear, and then Instagram is just Kiora Eyewear, no underscore. And then find my personal TikTok, Parker Godfrey, personal Instagram, Master Pooks, and we have some exciting things in the works. um, we're
Anything you want to share?
launching, yeah, so we're going to be launching a new product here, not within Kiora. This is completely separate, called Keen Fragrances. It's going to be a body wash based off of and inspired by some of the most popular scents on the market, which are like expensive colognes like Baccarat Rouge 540, Santal
Yeah.
33, and Creed Aventus. But it's going to be a body wash, and it's
Yeah.
also going to have pheromones in it. So that'll be a fun
Love
one.
it, man.
I think we're going to just start with organic like I did with Kiora and try to build that foundation, get the right angles going, and then the second things start popping, we're going to hit ads hard, and I know
Yeah.
where I'm going when I need my ads done. So
I
that's
love it, man.
that's
So
where we're
we're
going.
gonna get our pheromones on. We're gonna be smelling good. We're gonna throw on the Kioras. You're gonna be irresistible,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
love it, man. Cool.
No, it's
Well, I
exciting.
appreciate you so much, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thank you so much for coming on, guys, and thank you everyone for tuning in. That's it.
Of course.
Peace.